What if there was a way to automate your behavior so that doing a task or starting something new was relatively effortless? We actually do this all the time, and it's called a habit. A habit is a routine of behavior that is repeated regularly and tends to occur without conscious thought. In fact, up to 50% of our behavior is done from habits. But how many of you have tried building a habit like, reading, eating healthy, or exercise, for example, and just fell flat on your face? But then I realized I was doing it all wrong. You see, most people believe that creating change or a new habit is going to be very hard. After all, if it's not hard, then it's probably not worth doing, right? But that is simply not true. Let me explain. To understand the secret to easily building habits and the reasons why most habits fail, we first have to walk back and look at how your current habits were formed. And I don't know about you, but I have some really weird habits. For example, I carry this water bottle with me everywhere. You think I'm kidding? I'm not. I literally take it everywhere with me. I mean, like movie theater, church, restaurants, you name it. If I'm there, chances are my water bottle's there with me too. It's just like, of all the habits, why that one, right? So like, okay, let's retrace our steps and see how this habit was built. A number of years ago, I was at a Bible college in Pennsylvania, and at this college there was a choir that I was singing in, and the conductor asked that you bring a water bottle to choir practice. I was like, okay, that's not that bad, just duck into your dorm on the way there, grab your water bottle, and head over. It took a few seconds, like no big deal, right? As time went on, I realized it really wasn't that difficult to take it to choir practice with me, so I started taking it other places as well. So one thing led to another, and here we are. Or another habit that I have is I set out my health supplements the night before. That way in the morning, they're right there. Quick, easy, able to access it, and I rarely forget to take them. Have you found the key? It's to make habits incredibly easy. From the book Atomic Habits, James Clear says this: look at any behavior that fills up much of your life, and you'll see that it can be performed with very low levels of motivation. Habits like scrolling our phones, checking email, or watching TV steal so much of our time because they can be performed almost without effort. They are remarkably convenient. And this makes sense, right? Like if you think about it, like just take a habit that you have, think back about when you first started doing it. And before it was a habit, it was, you were incorporating it into your routine, whatever. Chances are it was relatively easy at that point. Like there wasn't a whole lot of friction in doing that habit. And as a general rule, habits that feel hard to do don't usually stick, and habits that feel easy to do stick. Now, I'm pretty sure I know what you're thinking because this is what I was thinking about this point. Really? You're gonna tell me to make a habit easier? Like, that's your advice? I mean, like, no duh. Sort of. You see, making a habit easy isn't about just avoiding hard habits or things that are difficult. It's about breaking a habit down so that there's almost no friction to just start. This is where a powerful tool called the 2-minute rule comes into play. Because even though you know you should start small, it's easy to start too big. The 2-minute rule says this: when starting a new habit, it should take less than 2 minutes to do. The idea is to make new habits as easy as possible to start. Anybody can read 1 page, for example, or tie their running shoes, or write 2 sentences. And this is really powerful because once you've started doing the right thing, it's so much easier to just keep going. And the actions that follow can be really challenging and very difficult. But the first portion, the starting process, needs to be incredibly easy. Think of it like a gateway habit that will naturally lead you on a more productive path. And guess who knows this better than anybody? App developers. I mean, think about it. How many times have you clicked on one notification and ended up spending way too much time there? Guilty. The 2-minute rule is happening all around us and we're doing it all the time. Usually we just don't know it. And the question is, are we gonna use this in a destructive way or a constructive way? Something that builds us up or something that tears us down? And the reason why I like this so much is you can apply this to anything. I mean, like you can break down almost everything to begin in less than 2 minutes. For example, something like read before bed each night can be turned into read 1 page, or study for class becomes open my notes. Run 3 miles becomes tie my running shoes. And it's really critical to remember that when we're trying to build these good habits and we're doing the 2 minutes or less, the real thrust of this is that we're building the habit of showing up. And failure to do this is one of the main reasons that habits fail. Remember when I said that I've fallen flat on my face with some habits? Yeah, let's take a look at some of those failures and see what I did wrong and what I can do better in the future to build those habits successfully. Failed habit number 1, train for volleyball several times a week. From start to finish, my training routine for volleyball lasts a little more than an hour. And it's like, okay, that's not that bad, right? Well, you see, your brain really tries to conserve energy, and that's a good thing, unless it gets out of hand and then it looks like laziness. So the thought of spending 1 hour's worth of energy at the end of my day when I'm already tired, oftentimes I don't really have the motivation to just jump into that. And what I failed to do when I was building this habit is I did not break it down. And how do I know this? Well, because to start takes about 10 minutes, which is way too long. What I'm gonna do instead is build a mini routine at the beginning of that, which is gonna be in my 2-minute slot before the actual habit. What I'm gonna fill that with is I'm gonna put in my earbuds, first of all, get my music going, because that's a huge part of the ritual of working out for me. And I'm also going to add a stretching routine, which is what I normally do before I work out or exercise or anything to begin with. I can do both of those things in less than 2 minutes, and if I do that, it's gonna be a whole lot easier to keep going and follow through. And the other side of it is, with this 2-minute rule, I actually do need to obey it. So at the end of 2 minutes, if I don't want to do the working out or the exercising, then I won't do it, because that keeping my word to myself is actually really important. And if I don't do it, it's like, okay, at least I got a good stretch in. Failed habit number 2, journaling every night. Man, I really don't like talking about these failures. I really like to journal, and I would love to do it every single night before I go to bed. But the problem is I've gotten really inconsistent with it, where I go in spurts, I'll do a bunch of it, for a couple of weeks or months, and then I'll take a break, and then I'll jump back into it, and it's really sporadic. So the solution for this is I'm gonna break it down so that I'm just gonna say, okay, all you have to do every night is write down what was the best moment from today. And that's it. Because even if I don't end up journaling and writing about it, which most of the time I will, if I take the time to write that question, it takes a minute. But if I do that, chances are I'm gonna follow through. But even if I don't, it's still okay in this scenario, because that's still gonna get me reflecting and thinking about my day as I'm falling asleep, which in and of itself is really helpful. And really, if you think about it, all a habit is an obstacle to get to where you want. Like dieting is an obstacle to get healthy. Exercising is an obstacle to get fit. Journaling is an obstacle to mental clarity. Because when we really break it down, we don't actually want the habits themselves. What we really want is the outcome that the habits deliver. Now it's your turn. Identify one habit that you plan on breaking down even farther and put it down in the comments.